So, like, obviously, no books were harmed in the throwing of these boxes. I obviously took all the books out in case you guys didn't know. But according to this title of the video, yes, here is my first book haul of the whole year. In fact, I was actually pretty shocked that I hadn't had a book haul yet on my channel this year. I believe the last book haul I had was in October, so yeah, it's been a long time. And as you can see, I have some book mail here that I'm going to unbox for you guys. And in case if you're wondering, yes, these are new glasses. Hopefully I look okay in them. So we're going to start off with this one. The first package. Yeah. So the first book that I opened is Hunted by Meagan Spooner. I've heard really great things about this book so far. It is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, but with Russian folklore and myths. And I'm really excited to dive into this one. And I haven't read any books by Meagan Spooner yet. A lot of people I trust have said that this book was really great, and that even though we all know this story of Beauty and the Beast, it does a different take on the whole story overall, so I'm really excited to dive into this one. This box. In that box came 4 books. So I'm just going to hold them up because they're really tiny and small, but they are the Foxhole Courts by Nora Sakovich. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm not too sure what this overall series is about, but I've heard that if you really like the Raven Boy series by Maggie, which is undoubtedly my favorite series ever, you would really dig this series. I don't know too much about this, but I've heard that it has to do with like mafia bosses, like either lacrosse or rugby. I'm not sure what sport that they're playing here, or I heard it's like a mashup, and it's like a made-up sport that the author has made up. I'm really excited because I've seen fan art of this series, and it really makes me want to read it even more. The first book is The Foxhole Courts, and I think The King's Men, and then The Raven King, which undoubtedly shares the same title as the 4th book in the Raven Boy series. I wonder if there's like a parallel tie here, but I'm really excited to dive into this one. The next book I got was Flame in the Mist by Renee Ahdieh. I have already read this book, and I have really mixed feelings about it, mainly just because I'm not too keen on her writing style. Maybe it's just for this particular book. I also heard that she has written 2 other books, I believe, The Wrath and the Dawn and The Rose and the Dagger. But more on that, I will be writing a full review on my Goodreads, and if you aren't friends with me on Goodreads, I'll leave the link down below so you guys can check that out. So the next book I got is Furthermore by Tahereh Mafi. I have heard so many things about this book. This is not a YA book, it's more middle grade, I believe. Also because Tahereh Mafi is like super popular, and I have read already the Shot at Me series by her, and it was such a long time ago, but I really liked it and enjoyed what I read. This book is about a colorless girl who goes on a journey or a quest to find her father. And that's pretty much all I know about this book. I don't really know too much. All I heard are pretty good things, and it looks like my kind of book because it's really whimsical and magical, so I'm really excited to see where this goes. Look at me, trying to be smart and intuitive and insightful and well-spoken. Let's just edit it. Make sure, Brandon, you edit this out of the video. The next book that I got was Always and Forever Laura Jean by Jenny Han. So, I was really excited to learn that Jenny Han would be writing a 3rd book to the duology, To All the Boys I Loved Before. And I, finished it. I placed it away, and that was it. But then here comes the 3rd book. I don't know what the other books are about. It's basically about a girl who writes letters to these boys that she has crushes on, but she never gives it to them or sends it out. Instead, she keeps all these letters until one day someone sends them all out to all the boys she has loved before. As you can see, stuff happens, things spiral down. People really liked it because it's just really cute, and I really love it because it has an Asian protagonist, and I can relate with this family so much. The next book that I got is The Scorpio Races by Maggie, Otter. So I got this book at my local used recycled bookstore. I was really excited because I haven't read any other book beside Maggie, Otter besides the Raven Cycle series. This is one of her earlier works, I believe, and it's about the Scorpio Races, which is an event that takes place where riders ride on horses, but the blurb in the book says water horses, so I am not sure if it's actual horses or water horses. If it's water horses, that is super cool. Maggie Otter is one of my favorite authors, so I'm really excited to dive into this one, and it just sounds really intriguing, but yet I don't really know much about it. It comes to Maggie Otter books, you read the plot, you're just like, oh, but when you actually read it, you're just like, what? Let me know if you can relate. The next book I got was Lord of the Flies by William Golding. As you can see, this book doesn't have the front cover. It's actually really naked, and that's how I found it. I was really intrigued because I believe this is like a timeless edition where they don't make this edition anymore because it's super old. Fun fact, I haven't read Lord of the Flies yet. I know what it's about, so I'm not going to say too much about it because I'm pretty sure everyone and their mother and father, grandfather, and aunts and uncles and cousins and brothers and sisters have already read this book. But I haven't. So, books of today have either derived from this source or taken some elements of this book and incorporate it in their own stories. So I'm really excited to see what this book is about. I already know what it's about, but you know, I'm really excited to read this book, and it's just a really cool edition. Its cover is really soft, and I'm really digging the material, and it smells really weird, but you know, it's an old book. So we'll see how this one goes. So the next book I got was A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. Now this book has a story behind it because I went to 3 different Targets to find this book. It was such a pain because they didn't have it, and I filmed everything, all my experiences, so I will leave a link down below or on the screen somewhere where if you want to watch that, you can click on there, because it was an adventure and it was a disappointment because I went there and it literally wasn't there. I have already finished reading it, and all the feels, man, I haven't fully reviewed it yet. I still need things to settle in before I process everything, so there's just so much that's going on in here that's just, my god. The next book I want to show you guys is The Perfect Stranger by Meagan Miranda. This cover is not only aesthetically pleasing, but it sounds very intriguing. This book is a mystery psychological thriller, which is literally right up my alley. I love mystery psychological thrillers. They are like one of my favorite genres. This book is about a girl named Leia who is a Boston reporter and fired from her job. And so she moves back to her old town and to reconnect with an old roommate named Emma. However, Emma soon disappears, and a woman that looks exactly like Leia dies, and she's murdered. So there's this whole mystery of what actually happened to Leia's lookalike and who really is Emma, because Emma disappears and there's absolutely no trace of her. So I'm really excited to dive into this book. It's like a little short book. It's not that won't be taking too long to read. Last and not least is Never Let You Go by Chevy Stevens. This also is a mystery psychological thriller book, in case you couldn't tell. This is about a woman who is in a really abusive relationship with her husband, and her husband is now in jail. And so years later, she moves on, and I believe she's with another dude, and they're happily married until one day her husband is either released, and she's being stalked. But we don't know if it's actually the husband or not, and it sounds like really cliched and bland, however I'm saying it, of course. I've heard there is a plot twist that is so good you'll never see coming, so hopefully it lives up to that. I'm really excited to see what happens in this book, so hopefully it's a page turner, and hopefully the ending lives up to it, so we'll see. Last but not least, I want to show you guys a package that I got from St. Martin's Press. I already know what it is, and it's an arc I requested. God's Grave by J. Kristoff. This book is the sequel to Nevernight by J. Kristoff. A huge thank you out to St. Martin's Press for sending me an arc copy of God's Grave. No, this video isn't sponsored. They did not ask me to do anything. I just wanted to share with you guys what I got. So, this video isn't sponsored or anything like that. No. It's just of my own opinions, okay? Chill, fam. If you don't know what this book series is about, it's actually a series about an assassin. It takes place in this world where her family is murdered, and she wants to avenge them. On her step towards vengeance, she has to become an assassin. And so she goes through all these trials and goes to a school, basically. And in this school, there are some major things that happen that I cannot say, but you just have to read it and find out for yourself. Another interesting thing about the US edition of Nevernight is that there are footnotes on the bottom that have really tiny stories or definitions to like the worlds or other specific places and things and locations that happen in that book that are really interesting. Highly recommend it. If you like Throne of Glass, or if you like anything like with blood, carnage, anything with assassins, definitely pick this series up. It's so good. This book doesn't come out until September, so I'm really excited to dive into this one. Super excited. Well, those are all the books that I had to show for you guys today. And I'll leave all the links to my social media down below if you guys are interested in checking that out. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you guys all soon with a new video.